see if I was right, because I never really looked at it, you know? There it is. That's the map. Oh, and here's our Pinewood Derby car. That we didn't build it, and we feel bad. We each got one, and that was the whole thing with the Scoutmaster, and I felt guilty for not participating, but we spent all our time on the real car. This is what they sent us for the rally. We built this one instead.
Okay, so how do you open that?
Let me get slugged out of it.
Perfect.
Here's our Webers, dude. Which we're very proud of.
Yeah.
We're probably prouder of them than we should be.
I like that.
There's all our spark plug wires we got mixed up. Oh, check this out. Check this out. Oh my god.
What? That's
There's our patch,
the
dude.
infamous fuel line right there.
The fuel line. This was just rocked forward too much. Well, it was all kind of out of whack, and we just couldn't get full throttle out of it. Is all that happened. You know, but it required a little bit more work than we had hoped to fix it. Oh, dude.
What?
Oh no, that's a grommet. Just got painted.
Oh, cool.
Has this car been painted before? I think it has, dude.
Maybe.
Because there's no reason for rubber to be red.
Yeah.
There's a shifter that we're also proud of. There's our switch panels. We found that in the yard with the oil cooler. This worked though.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. We could charge our phones. But what's cool is that you switch it. You can do it all independently, which means you can blast off your fuel pump or your radio or your ignition individually if you want to.
Dominance. Air here. Fuel pump. Ignition. Radio. Voila.
Sick.
Oh no, she's quick. She's a man.
Smoke in my room, I swear it won't go away. Steering wheel, it turns, but it goes your way. Cowboy killers and a little bit of whiskey. Strings on guitars make it sound like you're with me. Flesh and bones scattered around the mind, you know.
For sure.
I wake up and I'm freezing. I wish you'd come and see me. I know you're never coming again. So why do I have you close in my room? Pillowcase on my bed.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of In the Loop. Today I have some awesome people with an awesome car and an awesome story. Klin and Jonathan, welcome.
Thanks for having us on, man.
So, before we hop into this, what's kind of how'd you get in the cars in the first place?
Oh man.
You want to go first?
I just always been in mechanical stuff. You know, as a child it was tractors, and then as a teenager I wanted to ride like ATVs and stuff, but I had to fix them to do it. So I learned how to do that, you know. Then motorcycles and then cars. And there's more nuances to the story, of course, but we don't have 8 days. Yeah.
I guess myself, I grew up here in Pleasant Grove. My mom and my dad, they owned a small engine repair shop, like a chainsaw shop when I was growing up. So I was like 11 or 12 years old, running around this chainsaw shop, and kind of the same thing. We had like broken motorcycles and stuff, and like I wanted to ride them, so I had to like figure out how to do that. So at a very young age, I started putting together small engines, and then graduated to motorcycles, and then eventually got into cars. It's been on and off for, since then, buying and selling. This is my first Porsche. I come from a pretty heavy like Subaru background. That's like kind of been my car of choice. But how I got into Porsches though, and how me and Jonathan met, I was smoking a cigarette out of my front porch, and I was just kicking it, and then I see this red Ferrari getting pushed down the street.
I was still coasting.
Yeah,
Kind of.
Yeah, he was coasting or whatever it was. It wasn't running.
No.
And it stops, and I just I yell, "Hey, you need some help with that." And he's like, "Of course," and so I walk out there, we get to talking, and find out that he's my next door neighbor. He just lives 2 houses down. So I help him get the car back, and then comes over for brats, and that's about it. We started like running around doing car stuff, and it's kind of funny. That midget was,
You can't see. Well, yeah, maybe there. Yeah.
but that,
I'll get some B-roll.
yeah. But that midget was kind of the first vintage car that I bought. That kind of what kicked it off into the older stuff, because those are, the barrier of entry for those is pretty low. You can get it. They're easy to work on and just kind of fun to like bum around in. So that was kind of the bridge to this, I guess.
Which, looking at the two, it is pretty much a bigger version of spiritually.
Spiritually, yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. And I love the midgets. I think it's a really good first car for anybody that wants to like try out like something vintage. Because you can get them for real cheap, and you can just go on, what is it, Morris Motors?
Yeah.
You can just go on to Morris Motors and buy whatever you need to, and you can experiment with them. And if you screw something up, it's like not that big of a deal.
Well, you're going to learn because they're pretty simple and they're going to break.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're going to break,
They're
dude. They break.
How do you learn how to do anything on a car or have something that breaks?
Absolutely.
How do you learn anything without some sort of conflict? What would be the point?
Right? Like, if there isn't something that needs to change, there's no reason to learn how to
change.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is the act of doing anything, is to change something, right? Whether it's you made something worse because you did something, or you made something better, right?
Right.
So
I've done both.
Oh, many times.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes at the same time.
Yeah, you can take like 3 steps forward, 5 steps back in one single move.
Well, you can make one move and end up taking 3 steps forward, 2 steps sideways, 1 step up, 1 back to the right, and then 2 more up, and end up at the same level in a different place.
The sounds kind of where this car has been.
You know what? That probably.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So, like, run us through what's the story of this car?
Okay, so allegedly the story goes, right? So, and that'll make more sense here in a second. But I was down in Arizona for my sister's wedding, and me and my aunt were sitting at the table talking, and she brought up that she had this Porsche in the garage that they weren't using. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've been around that stuff lately, hanging out over at the Spectre shop in Provo with Tanner Boyes, which is super cool. People should check that out. But
on Instagram.
On the Instagram.
Don't just go there. Yeah.
No, on the gram. But so I was like, oh man, that's awesome. I would love to check it out, if you're looking to get rid of it. And, as the story kind of evolved, this came from my uncle. He bought it after Vietnam. And he just had it. I guess it drove very little. The tub has like very minimal rust.
Dude, it's like the paint is cooked in a beautiful way. but holy cow, it's a good tub.
Yeah,
It's so solid.
it's amazing.
The minimal rust in all the places, not all the places, but
Yeah.
only places that don't really matter too much.
Yeah.
Totally. And so in talking to her, I guess I committed to buying this thing, on a whim, because like you got to buy the Porsche. I thought it was a 911 at first. You're right. I did. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is so cool.
No pictures, and they didn't know
No
what it
pictures,
was.
nothing. They didn't know anything about it, and like I wasn't very versed.
And you hear old Porsche, it's like, what did they even make? It's
Yeah.
911. So, I mean,
exactly.
Like you
Close to mine. For me, at least.
knew better, dude. You were operating on real hopes there.
That-
There ain't
yeah.
nothing wrong with that, dude.
Yeah.
no.
But I mean, when I found out what the car was, I started doing some digging on it, doing some learning, and it turns out this one's real cool. And I wasn't upset that it was a 914.
I'm kind of glad it's a 914.
Same,
Honestly, it's a different jam. It's
Yeah.
really neat, interesting.
Yeah, and I love the 911, and I want one real bad.
I want a 912.
Yeah.
Like an early short wheelbase one.
Mm.
Either one.
When you're speaking Porsche, you're speaking my language.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
There's only one car thing in my office,
That's a
and
shame.
it's a Lego Porsche 911.
Okay.
Like old air cooled. Like,
You don't have any Hot Wheels ones?
no, not currently.
Oh, bro.
I got a
I got some Hot Wheels
All
somewhere.
right, yeah, if you got one,
I got
that's
a present
great.
for you.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Out of the collection.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where this came from. It was my uncle's. He passed away a couple years ago. My aunt inherited it, and then I bought it off of her on a whim. I was in the middle of the fire season. I had just taken a couple of days off to go down to Arizona. I was in the WRX, and but yeah, so I came home and I left for a fire, and came back, and she texted me. She's like, "Hey, come get this out of my garage." And I was like, I am broke right now. Like, I have no money to do this. I've miscalculated my finances for the purchase of the car. And she's like, it doesn't matter. Just come get it. I was like, okay, cool. So we go grab it, and I leave for another fire. And I just sit there, and like, I just sat it here. Because I didn't know what I was going to do with it.
Well, yeah, until you had it, like, until you paid for it, like, it just sat.
Yeah,
Like,
it just
you're like, I'm not going to try this until,
I didn't even want to touch it, And then, like, a month later, I gathered up the money, paid it off. So I do hold the title to this car, which is really cool.
Then we let it sit again. You got distracted by things and winter and whatnot, but one day out of the blue came some inspiration.
I thought about selling it.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of times.
Yeah, but then Sean texted you.
Yeah. So like I mean, it was sitting back here forever, and I was like, man, I think I want to sell this, because I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Like, it was so foreign to me, and like everybody always talks about how hard Porsches are to like work on and oh, it's expensive, you're gonna break shit, and
Yeah.
it turns out, this is 10 times easier than working on my Subaru.
Yeah, the parts are more expensive.
They
but
are.
There's not as many of them.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
and the quality that comes along with the parts associated, with building a Porsche, like it's night and day compared to
Yeah.
Yeah, like you buy some cheap CV axles for your Subi, and like, maybe they last you a year, but like,
it's
like, oh man, I'm out another $200, and like, if several hours of my time to swap those
Yeah.
again.
oh yeah,
That and like you're dealing on like a lot of the other cars which have a perception of affordability with a lot of affordable parts and suppliers that have no customer service.
Yeah, so you get something that doesn't fit right,
Right.
that 6 months down the road
Right.
failed when it shouldn't have.
But
and
then
you're
the
like,
rest of the market's competing with that. And you lose a lot of the quality in the market because of it. The Porsche,
yeah.
man, what a cool scene.
Yeah. I mean, like the people that I've met through, the build on this, it's been crazy. So we're talking about CV axles. I had to rebuild the passenger side one You know, we're talking about quality, you know, and I took it up to PNB because that's where I've gotten all my parts for this was, you know, PNB out of Salt Lake, PNB Performance. And, man, they were like, hey, we'll just rebuild this for you, you know, and then
That was a special deal
Yeah,
because of our situation.
yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
P&B is very busy.
they were very, very gracious
Yeah.
to help me out. I'm very grateful for that. But I mean, they sat there and like, you know, allowed me to go back and like even just watch them do it, you know, and like that was really cool to see like the passion behind that, right? And just, you know, stuff like this, you know, like the ability to rebuild the parts. You know, it's not just like a throwaway part. Like you can actually service it. You know,
Yeah, it's meant to last, not meant to throw away. Versus like
Yes.
modern stuff, it's like
Absolutely.
when it's toast, it's toast.
Yeah, and it would have been, you know, near the end of that era for Volkswagen, you know, that had a lot of that.
Because what year is this? It's 80?
76.
76.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're getting end of the days of the Beetle really being.
Volkswagen was exiting the air-cooled world at that time, you know,
I think.
or beginning to. And,
Yeah.
At least, yeah, look at it in the direction of water
Right.
cooled.
And Porsche was entering their era of, you know, no profitability for a while, you know.
And I think the next like mid-engine car that came from Porsche was the Boxster.
As far as street cars go,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, I think yeah. So it was 914 to Boxster.
I think so.
Boxster to Cayman,
Or at least, you
as
know,
far
like-
as the mid-engine.
Yeah.
In terms of like new models, yeah.
Tandem.
Like you obviously have new generations of the 911.
Yeah.
Right.
But I just don't. Yeah, I don't think after like as far as the air cooled stuff, I don't think there was another air cooled motor in a mid-engine car after Boxster.
I don't.
No, I
Not-
think other than the last air cooled 911.
Yeah, I mean, it's some race
Yeah.
cars, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that doesn't like.
But like
No.
consumer, like something you and I can
Yeah,
actually-
attainable cars for just a, you know, your average upper middle class dude, you know.
Totally. And that, I mean, you know, the caveat off of that, that's kind of the interesting thing about the 914 right now. Like they are coming up in the market and they're getting more popular and they're starting to pop up more, you know, but this is still, you know, you can still find these, you know, for under, you know, sub $10,000.
I mean, I feel like you can never say a price on a Porsche because anytime there's a cheap Porsche, it's no longer cheap, right? Like first gen Cayennes, people are like, oh, these are kind of good. No, they're not cheap.
Whoa.
Right?
That's
People
a
are like,
different
oh,
realm.
Porsche 944s, these are pretty good.
Yeah.
Not cheap anymore.
Yeah.
No.
No.
So,
I think a lot of it too, you know, I mean, I feel like I could go buy another one of these with a decent tub that wasn't rusted out and I could.
I would have no problems with starting from scratch on
Yeah.
914. I
Yeah.
would never in my damn life start a Cayenne from scratch.
No. I think this.
well, I'm talking like a decent running one.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
general people.
I'm just saying that's how far it goes. You
Yeah.
know, like I would never do that with that. But this is such a like a Lego car, which is an overused term, but still.
I mean, smaller engine. It's a relatively small car, but it's I mean, size wise, it's bigger than a Miata, right?
Not really. You know, I say I think I don't know the weights exactly,
Yeah.
but they're very similar. And I would imagine the 914. I haven't driven this one hard. I've been the navigator and, you know, emergency mechanic, but I would bet this will just beat the socks off of Miata and handling. You know,
Oh, I don't get me wrong. I'm saying like
Too dry.
physical footprint.
right?
It's not
It's very very close physical footprint. I think from what I remember, I haven't parked next to one of these next to a Miata in a while, but
Yeah.
I did have both at one time, and I think they're very close.
The proportions on the 914 are interesting too, because like when you look at it and it's not up against any other car, it looks like a pretty decently sized car, right? Because of how kind of flat and wide it looks. But when you put it up against like, I don't know, like my 2002 Bug-Eye, you know, it's the wheelbase is the same, but like it's just this little teeny tiny thing, you
Right.
know. And
I mean, it looks like a flip flop.
yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it's kind of like a slide.
It does
Yeah,
kind of look like a
like a-
flip flop. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
But it's so simple though.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
interesting thing. I think there's only like 4 bolts to get the engine and trans out. You know?
Yeah, that sounds Volkswagen.
And if you don't count CVs, we pulled the transmission out of it to reseal it before the trip, and we got underneath there and we finally got loose and shook it loose. Bro, we almost tossed that thing right through the trunk.
We did.
It was so. We should have. We have another one right there. I don't know why we didn't pick it up to see how much it weighed before we pulled the other one out. But
we were both.
You were expecting it to weigh a lot more.
Oh man, it weighed about a third of what we expected, which we just didn't think.
Yeah.
I've done Porsche transmissions out before and stuff. Right? I know what they weigh, and I just didn't think about it.
Pretty wild.
But I think actually the ones I've done were earlier and came out of like with the axles and everything, we put the whole jam at one time.
Like a whole like transaxle type.
Yeah, it would have been like 356 stuff with the drums hanging off of it and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you brought up the trip. Should we transition?
Let's go to why the Porsche got built. You got a phone call or a text from Sean.
Yeah, so I was down in Texas on a preposition with the fire department I was working with at the time, and our buddy Sean down in Florida called me and he's like, "Hey, dude, I figured I'd reach out. There's this thing. It's called the Overcrest Rally. You should apply for it and put it in with your Subaru." I was like, yeah, maybe. But then I was like, oh wait, like, why would I take the Subaru? I've got this Porsche in my garage.
I mean, not running, not put together. But you have.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of ran that.
Yeah, I mean, I
tried it.
Yeah, I drove it back from my aunt's house. I mean, she just lives down the street.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I picked it up,
it put 200 or 300 miles on it after we got it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was running and driving, but so I got that call. And we put in for it, and that's kind of where Jonathan comes in with the trip. I was down there. I called him, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm pretty busy down here. I can't write the submission for the rally. Can you do that? Can you come with me and be the co-pilot?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude, no problem." And so he did it, he actually missed the deadline twice.
We won't go into all that.
Yeah, but they
were super cool.
Yeah, the Overcrest guys are amazing.
Apparently, I put together a pretty good application.
Yeah, they were very, very gracious in letting us into the rally, and they did. So we did that, and I started ordering parts like from the road. I started doing a bunch of research, and previous to that, even, I'd blown out a brake line, and I was like, I still want to drive this. So that
had parked the car for a while.
That was what had parked the car. Yeah. So I started doing some research, and I got hooked up with P&B. And I called up there and started talking, and it's all kind of snowballed. Like, I started off with like brakes, like with their brake package. So like it's got, all new brakes, like rotors, pads, calipers, lines, everything. And that started that, and I was like, oh, cool. I started getting into it. I realized all the shocks are blown, so I ended up putting, B8s up front, and then I've got, Bilsteins in the rear with ground control coilover kit on it. And then I did that, and I was like, okay, cool, that's fixed. Let's move on. And so I was like, what else can I do to make this a really good driver car? Like I'm not so concerned about going 120. I just want to be able to take corners really good, right?
I mean, this is not the chassis for high.
No,
this is a chassis for fun, dude.
Yeah, and that's
satisfaction.
And I really get I get a
skill or not enjoyment, dude.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest thing too. It isn't even about the aesthetics of the car. It's all about
there's some aesthetics, bro.
Yeah, but like nothing that like I'm gonna do,
because you like the aesthetics.
Yeah, because I like it, and it's not so much about how I make the car look as like how I make the car go. Yeah, and how I can like run my machine and how like successfully I can do that. And that's where the research came in for like what can I do to make it better. And what I landed on was I redid the whole shift linkage. I put a Ren shift like shifter in there with a Tangerine Racing shift rod from the back, which was interesting because I had to cut the fucking. Oh, sorry, I had to cut the. There's like a.
Yeah, he had to grind on the transmission.
Yeah,
so.
I had to grind off like an ear, like off the
It
transmission.
was a little freaky
That's,
for
that's,
Klin.
that's any race car.
Yeah.
It's just
And
the
like,
first real
it was-
Porsche
yeah.
part that he's going to change forever.
Yeah.
you know?
Permanent modifications.
It definitely kind of got me going. I was just laying here, on the ground with my freaking grinder, and I'm just like, I guess we're gonna do this. So I start chopping into it, and the adrenaline rush that I got from that was crazy, and I did it well enough that it worked, and I was
That's all
able,
that matters.
I was
It's
able
race
to,
car shit.
I was able to install the parts I needed to. And we fixed the shifting problem because these are notorious for shifting like
It's terrible. Yeah.
they're terrible. Yeah. And I mean they're super, they're just loose, and everything. But this one, it's got springs in it, so you can like change the spring rate for like, back and forth and stuff.
Okay.
And dude, it is so crisp.
It's
Yeah,
wild.
It's insane.
It's real good.
It totally changed the whole car up, and then we, after I did that, we were like, okay, what's next? And then I went to the Webers. So I put dual Webers on. I'd never done that before. I built the linkage up, put it on, and I didn't screw it up at all. I think
No, that's why we had to rebuild it in the parking lot. We did too. We took it all apart because you did do one thing wrong that required the whole thing to come apart.
It's okay.
It's okay. I've done it before. In fact, when I made the throttle linkage for the Spectre project, and I welded it together wrong and had to cut it apart and redo it.
Yeah,
It's a really common mistake. It wasn't a big deal, but I'm not going to let him say he did it totally right the first time.
we like in like that.
He may forget, but you remember.
Oh, I remember. I remember those 2 hours of redoing all the linkage twice.
Yeah.
That goes back and forth for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, and I bought all these parts, and like I came back, from that fire, and we had 2 weeks to build it, right? So I mean, Jonathan, I've got another really good friend. He's not here right now. Jesse Morgan.
Yeah.
He's we built a couple cars together, Subarus. Dude, it's beautiful how his brain works. Like, I'm not very good at research. I'm good enough to get myself in trouble or whatever, but
That's true.
having him come over, and help with this, and like, really kind of be in charge of like research and figuring out problems and troubleshooting things,
Not to mention just being like a good dude.
Just a solid guy,
Bro, hanging out, helping us go on the rally.
Yeah, dude, and he didn't even get anything out of it, like he was just
He
here
gets
for
the next ride.
Yeah, he just
Sure.
get the next ride, But it's like the amount of support that I got, for the rally and putting the car together has been awesome. Totally exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
I didn't even have any. I didn't even know that anybody was going to care about it. But like having everybody kind of come together to like make it work.
Yeah.
And like we actually ran out of time. We put everything on, and we got to the point that it could roll. But the carbs weren't adjusted yet. It was able to fire, but it wasn't running right, and so. It was like 2 days or a day before we had to leave.
Well, we had also done this oil cooler, right? We decided we wanted an oil cooler. We didn't have time to get anything, so we grabbed one in an adapter. We got one that I had for an MGB GT that was just in my yard. And we tossed it on there. We had all the right fittings, but it was leaking. We tried to tighten it. The thread's just gone. It was just a bad part, And then the oil that came out of the lines had glitter.
It did have glitter.
And we decided at that point that it probably best just to get on the road, work on the car as we can, and blow it up in Wisconsin instead of Nebraska.
Yeah, because we were going to drive it.
We were, but it just wasn't in the cards.
Yeah.
We had so much help on the car. There was no way we were going to show up to the party.
Yeah.
They could have told us to go home, and we would have been like, good to see you. Thank you so much. See you next time if you'll have us.
Yeah.
But, that's not at all what happened.
Yeah. No, and like it was like a day before, we were going to leave, and, Jonathan, we were standing here and he like looks at him and he's like, hey, like we gotta, we should put this on the trailer.
And just boogie. So we
Yeah. And it took some convincing. I wanted to drive.
Bro, the next morning he was like, I'm still willing to drive it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's not happening, dude.
I was holding on to it for sure, but eventually, I agreed and we put it on the back of the Tundra. And
I was gonna say I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah, everybody saw the Tundra on Instagram.
Yeah.
That thing's an OG, man. Like I've driven that thing all over the country.
It's
just like solid. But yeah, so we did that and we built the car on the road. We like kind of finished some stuff up. It was crazy.
We did not build it on the road. We intended to, but instead we got distracted by roads in Colorado, despite the fact that we were pulling a trailer with a large truck.
Yeah, we had to do some road hunting as well.
Yeah,
but it was crazy before we left. So it wasn't charging either, and we had an extra alternator laying around and a wiring like harness. And so I kind of fixed, because the one in here had fried itself like completely, like all the lines were blown out and like. I thought it was like a capacitor or something. Is that what we were talking about?
I don't know.
Whatever it was, it didn't matter. It wasn't a problem. But that didn't work when I put the new one in, or the new one in, the one I had laying around in the parts stash.
The one I had laying around in my parts stash.
From the other 914 that got sold earlier this year. And I was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen. So we came up with a plan. We're like, hey, we're just going to run total loss and just keep buying batteries. We'll trade them in at AutoZone.
Yeah, so we brought like 3 batteries with us and a charger. And we were just going to charge them in the hotel room overnight, in parallel.
Yeah.
And just fill the trunk with them and throw wires to the coil and call it a day.
I mean,
Yeah, but it didn't have to happen that way. Like the day we were going to leave, I call up to the PNB and I talked to Braxton up there. He's the shop manager. Dude's super cool, and he's like, man, I actually have an alternator and a wiring harness for a 914. If you want to come grab it. And it just so happened that they got 2 like brand new rebuilt ones in like the day prior.
Yeah.
So
they were actually like kind of like, we're not really sure why we have these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thankfully somebody needs them.
Yeah. It was like almost a screw up in inventory or something.
I don't know what, but it just worked out, right? So when I picked it up and we just hit the road. And, by the time we got there, we got to the hotel and like the day of the registration of the rally is when we started.
So hold on, let's back up. And like, cause we pulled up, right? We had enough time when we got to Wisconsin to drive past our motel room, get our key cards and then go to the pre-party, the night 0 as they call it. And we rolled up there and it was, maybe a little discouraging on some fronts because we had to drive our, Tundra with this 914 that didn't run on a trailer right through all the $100,000 911s on the rally.
Bro, I pulled right up through the gate, dude, and I think it was Jeffrey that was standing there or whatever, but like I leaned out of the truck and I'm like, man, I did not do my research.
That's not true.
Yeah,
I just felt bad.
I didn't look at where I was parking, to be honest with you, and I sure as hell didn't expect to have to.
We didn't know what we were doing, but they were cool about it.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, we feel kind of bad. We'll just kind of lay low, and see what happens.
But I imagine everyone there was pretty about it.
Nobody there knew what to be about yet.
Yeah, like everybody was like pretty new to like meeting each other, and that was kind of like our first impression, going in was like, hey, we're here, and we're here, and it turned out really good. Everybody was super like.
They were cool. There was a tornado. This is really cool. Like a tornado touched down just like a mile or 2 away or something. Maybe less than that. I can't remember. But there's this wedding venue in the driftless region of Wisconsin. It's beautiful. It is a caricature of what we all think Americana in the Midwest should be. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's a children's book about farming. It's what it is.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And we pull into this wedding venue and it's fantastic. They've rented it for all of us to hang out and do sports car things for an evening or just chat and get to know each other. And this tornado touches down. It's raining. It's just blowing rain. They had a Pinewood Derby race for us, right? And they had hired a scoutmaster to run the Pinewood Derby race. Really cool. And that dude took the reins, and he was like, "All right, everybody,
For the
there's a storm to the basement, away from the windows and away from the doors."
Oh yeah.
And like there's the wind's going crazy. These trees fall over in the yard and stuff, and there's like $10 million worth of cars out there. And it was very interesting because nobody seemed to care. Nobody freaked out. Everybody's like, "Whoa, this is cool. Let me get a picture."
I'm pretty sure.
And that was kind of a clue as to what we were in for.
Yeah.
It was the authenticity of the whole fucking jam.
Sorry. Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure I saw a dude like after that he was parking on a hill or whatever. That dude came screaming in there like 25 miles an hour, slamming on his brakes, and like slid like halfway down the hill or whatever to park. Dude gets out, and like the guy that was directing was like, "That was crazy." He's like, "Oh well." So I mean, just super cool.
It was just nobody freaked about their cars at all. It was so cool.
I mean, it's that kind of like they're about the cars, so the cars don't matter. I feel like
It's because they're about the ride and the jam and the experience. It transcends materialism on that level. I love cars and coffee, but it's a different thing.
Totally.
Yeah, versus like people they're literally they brought a car out so they can go do car things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's different aspects of the whole community, and there's nothing that makes it better. One way or another. It's different, and it's really about hanging out with the people that jive to your jive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we found that there, and we find a little bit of that at Cars and Coffee, and it's really cool to see people that are into other things.
Yeah.
But it was really neat to find like unexpectedly our people.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Super cool. So anyway, night 0 happens.
Yeah.
And it goes pretty okay-ish. We make a couple friends. All right, feel kind of out of place, but we're going to roll with it. And the next day, we intended to go home and work on the car, but we stayed too late. And we woke up the next day and we slept in too late. And then we got up and we started working on the car. So we backed up the Penske trailer, I have an Penske trailer we use for cars, and pulled the ramps out to an embankment, rolled it off, and did the alternator, pulled the exhaust off for that. Went through maybe some suspension stuff. Redid all the linkage.
Yeah, I just checked everything.
Yeah.
Just did it once over on the car.
Redid all the carb linkage. Got it kind of running.
And tuned it. And
balanced it.
Yeah.
After a few tries, got it pretty balanced and timed it by ear. Yeah. And then we got in it and we rolled to the registration.
Yeah. Well,
registration was like 2 to 5 p.m. And we rolled in on the test drive. Like not and around the block first, but like get in the car. We got a boogie. I'm just glued to the gauges, listening to everything, trying to tell Klin where to go while he's getting used to a brand new car. He's never driven this thing on those carburetors, the suspension, nothing.
Yeah, it's...
And we roll in at 4:58, 2 minutes to spare.
Yeah.
And we talked to the guy, Chris Kluhl. Yeah, really cool dude, puts on the rally and told him what was up. And he's like, "Oh, great, fantastic. Thanks to V for, coming." I said, "Well, that's kind of weird. Like, we've totally slacked and really not held up our end of the bargain we felt, and he's being cool about it. That's good." And there's a dude over in the parking lot, smoking cigarettes with his head underneath or down into the engine bay of a 512 BBI Ferrari, which was the only Ferrari that came. But bro bought that group brought a half running Ferrari.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, we're probably going to be.
We're right. We're right in.
We're probably gonna have some friends.
Yeah,
It's
it's not just the
$100,000 Porsche.
Which is great. Those guys are really cool too. They just have a different set of tools and parameters.
Well, in a different, they're having a different experience.
Well, kind of,
right?
But on this rally, you really your experiences sort of mesh a little bit.
Yeah, because
they get to kind of come down to our level, and we get to go up to theirs, which is really we see it that way, but they see it as us coming down to their level and them coming up to ours too. We all see it that way.
Yeah, like it's not.
They have a level of finance that I don't have, but I have a level of freedom as well, and there's nothing necessarily. They have different other passions, and it's just really cool to get into that and see their perspectives of it all and share it with each other.
And at the end of the day, I mean, it just comes down to
just having a good time.
You know,
Driving's even secondary to having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like that's a huge focus. You know, it's a road rally. You know, I mean, and like it's the way they set it up was so cool too. Like they give you a map, right, and they give you like a road book with like turn by turn instructions, right, and like that's something I kind of
They gave you the most wonderfully terrible map.
Yeah,
It was not detailed, and your only directions were like you see this street, you go this way, and it wouldn't even tell you the whole intersection.
yeah,
And sometimes there were typos, and that was I don't know how intentional it was or was not. They say it was not, and I kind of think, well, it sure worked pretty good.
yeah,
And even if it was not intentional, I'm sure not mad about it.
yeah.
Um,
It made you think, right? And I mean, and like,
it was constructed in a way that competition was impossible.
yeah,
Like, because you would get lost and you would have won the race because of it.
Yeah.
just about like seeing whose car will make it.
It was made it clear that if you were caught racing, you would never be invited back.
Yeah,
As well.
Yeah.
But they also that was an absolute non-issue. Not
Yeah.
a single person I'm aware of had any sort of competition on the rally.
I think everybody was just there to
Yeah.
have a good time.
And the roads are so wonderful.
Yeah.
And what's the fun of leaving everyone else behind?
Dude.
Isn't the fun being with
Yeah.
the fun is the experience of people.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what was cool was so it's like this massive, just weird, like spider web of country roads, and they're all good, you know. And the directions were wild, and the route was wilder because it would have you go in loops and back on the same road in the other direction, and then other ways back here, you might be on the same chunk of road 2 different directions 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd see other people going the other way, and you're like, oh God, I'm going the wrong way, and you turn around, then you lose your place on the map, and within the thing, and then you'd find other people, and the end result was like a whole bunch of guys playing Scooby-Doo in the farmlands of Wisconsin with vintage sports cars.
I
And
mean,
it was the coolest thing.
It was.
Dude, you just pull up to an intersection and there's like $100,000 911 that you've been watching on Instagram for 2 years, hanging out, and they're lost too, you know. And then there's a Lancia Stratos, you know, a replica, but nonetheless,
It really
you know.
was, yeah.
still.
Yeah, Nicole Johnson was driving it, you know, and it's also over here, apparently not lost because they were sponsored by Onyx. They never got lost.
Sponsored by Onyx.
Yeah.
Any deviation from the route was purposeful.
Sure.
You know,
But yeah, dude. I mean, that's kind of
So,
how
yeah.
the trip went. And I mean,
second day we rode down a couple times, you know, had a good time. We rolled into, where were we, like Minnesota or something?
yeah,
I think we're in Minnesota somewhere at the end of that day, you know, and we had parked somewhere. We'd stayed in a motel. Oh, no, that was the next night.
yeah,
We grabbed a motel in the middle of the night, and I negotiated the spot to leave the truck overnight.
yeah,
And you know, or during the day the next day. I was like, hey, dude, can we leave it till like midnight or so and grab it? And he said, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Because we've
yeah.
been threatened with a tow the night before.
I forgot about that. I had to like sneak back. Like we'd stopped the first night and we had to drive like.
We didn't have time to move the truck in the morning of the first rally, so we just kind of crossed our fingers. And,
Yeah, I hoped it wouldn't get taken.
you know, I'm not really proud of that move, but we
But
did it.
it is.
Well, time constraints.
The motel people, they did threaten to tow it. It's,
Yeah.
you know,
And I mean,
I get it.
we finished that first day and I was like, oh shit, like I gotta go back and grab the truck. So we drove 2 hours back to go grab the truck and then drove it, got a hotel,
Try to get close to the starting
Yeah.
point the next day.
woke up real early and just jammed out.
Yeah.
So we had to go the next day.
Ran that. That was the last day of the rally.
Yeah, that was the last day, you know, and I mean, that's, you know, one more thing to caveat off about the rally, you know, it's not so much about going fast, but it's really about slowing down and checking things.
Yeah, you don't have time.
No, and
You know,
like,
the reception's so spotty, you can't even.
yeah, like you can really kind of get off of your like mobile device, you know, and
Yeah.
just kind of focus on like what you're doing, right? I mean, like, and it's a good time to, you know, have that route book and just really kind of, you know, test yourself to see, you know, how good you are, you know, and like for me, you know, bringing the car to the rally, you know, it wasn't even, you know, it wasn't about how fast I could do it. It's just like we built this car, you know, it was very quick, you know.
It was purely about obtaining a new experience.
Yeah, and like
That was it.
just seeing if the car would finish.
Yeah.
It wasn't about, being the first, the fastest, or any of that shit. I just wanted, I wanted to prove to myself that I could build a car and have it finish what I wanted it to finish. And I mean, throughout the rally, we had breakdowns, right? Like one time we were on some country road, and I look at Jonathan, I'm like, man, I smell fuel. Like what's going on?
Oh man.
And so I fucking hit the kill switch on the fuel pump up on that plate up there, and we pull over, get out, and the fuel line had fallen into the fan shroud.
I had very, very intelligently left a lot of extra fuel line in case we needed it later. I figured we'll just store it on the car and just cut our longest hose when we need it.
That turned out to
Not be the right
move, but that's okay, because we left extra PCV hose.
Yeah, so the fuel line got cut in 2 spots in the middle.
Yeah.
There's not enough to patch it.
Yeah, it's like the worst.
Yeah, there was spot.
Wait, it's like you left a lot of slack.
You're like, I don't know what to do, and
I was like looking at it, and I was like, oh shit, wait a second, that PCV hose.
I said that. It was me.
Either way, it was like, oh, that PCV hose will fit over it, So I like chopped some off, and I fucking put it on there, and it worked.
Yeah, we just slid both ends of the fuel line.
I actually think it's still there.
It is.
Yeah.
We just put like 4 hose clamps over it.
Yeah.
Kind of tightish, and it works.
On things like this, it's not like you have enough fuel pressure to really.
No.
That's part of like after this trip, I was like, yeah, next car probably gonna be carburetors too.
Yeah. No. I've got.
You can run it like you could throw just a gas can on top of it and siphon it into your carburetor.
Yeah.
You can't do that with anything with fuel injection.
I think I'm actually my next whatever fun thing is going to be carbureted.
It should be.
One, because it's like a new experience to me. Like I haven't
and if you can
worked on carbs.
It opens so many doors for you, when I was younger, I had a particular habit, and I learned a particular skill, and I carried, some rice paper around, and I earned my place in the circles, and if you can do that with carburetors, you can play with some cool stuff, dude.
I'm like, I've used carbs in my day, though.
Yeah.
That's how you learn, is you burn things.
That's true.
There's no gain of knowledge without conflict and resolution.
For sure. So I had this, he was my boss. Maybe not at the time, but eventually I worked for him. And they had some go-karts out back. And I don't remember why we were there. I think my buddy and I had planned like a group date. And the plan was we were going to do go-kart races around their orchard. And so we go earlier in the day to go set up the go-karts to make sure they're good to go, pump up the tires. It's like they're just sitting back there. The carburetor on one of them was just completely pouring fuel out of every orifice. And I think I permatexed the entire thing as one unit. And then I had to cut a hole for the adjuster screw and everything. But it ran great. The only problem was the tire didn't hold air. So after about 30 seconds.
That had nothing to do with your carb job.
My carb job was great. It was horrible.
Great.
And I also zip tied the bowl onto everything.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
But you know what? What that does though is awful as that is,
Yeah.
What it does is if you rig something up like that, and it's successful, I mean, it's very indicative of a further understanding of the concepts behind what you just did.
Yeah, it's the execution sucks.
But
I understood this bowl needs to be there and it needs to be sealed.
You understood why.
No fuel going in.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you just rebuild a carburetor with the instructions and it just works, you didn't learn a damn thing.
Whereas if you have a broken thing and it's go fix it.
You have to understand the principles, the engineering behind it, just a little bit at least. Even if you don't know exactly why it was designed the way it is, if you can understand how it's working and where it's failing to work. The absolute best way to learn is a shit box, dude.